Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra.
And welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone, presented by Northwestern Mutual. We do it each and every Wednesday with the forum's Mike McFeely. I'm Dom Izzo as we get ready for November football. You remember November, Michael? I've been ready to say it.
Craig Bull said that about, 15 years ago or so,
Yeah.
and that became a mantra, and now everybody's saying
right?
it. It's great. And Paulsek, of course,
He wasn't going to miss that opportunity.
as a Craig Bull disciple, is going to go right into that.
Bison are back home with Youngstown State. First of 3 home games in the month of November for the Bison. The other game obviously is a trip to the University of North Dakota. We'll get into Youngstown here in just a moment. Let me start first with knowing full well what the schedule is. Emotional win, big win on Saturday. I'll ask you, letdown, trap. Do you worry about anything like that for this weekend's game?
I see that Vegas has put out some early lines this week and have NDSU as a 29.5-point favorite.
Okay.
That seems a little heavy to me. Youngstown, I don't think is bad. I mean, they're
5-3 right now.
Yeah, I mean, and the quarterback can do some things, and they have some weapons offensively. Defensively is another question.
Yep.
But I don't think there's going to be a letdown. I've seen no sign of a letdown from a Tim Paulsek team in 2.5 years now. So I wouldn't expect one Saturday.
No, and the way they're playing right now, especially get back at home, that's an opportunity here to maybe finish this thing out. I mean, there's a potential. The game next week, and we're going to spend full time on it, getting ready. But
we can't think about the game next week, Dom.
We can.
We have a game this week that we have to focus on in the media.
Let me ask you, though, if they do trip up next week, 11-1, is that still a top 2 seed in your mind? I've had people ask me that all week so far.
I mean, if you look at the resume and the wins over ranked opponents and the head-to-heads, I think. They're one of the 2 best teams in FCS. Regardless of whether they lose at UND or not. The question to me then becomes, is what do you do with UND?
Yes, you're right.
They have 2 losses, and one of them might sting them to Montana.
Yep.
But is there a better team? South Dakota State clearly is not better than North Dakota State. Tarleton's schedule is just so weak that they just don't. And then it would be Montana.
Yep.
Montana State's lost to South Dakota State.
Correct. So you can't have them above them.
If you're going to go by resume, and so NDSU could answer all questions by winning the rest of their games, starting this week with the game this week in which they need to go 1-0.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Now, it should tell you also about a football team that's 8-0. We're talking about a true freshman that's going to be playing more of how things are going in 2025. But that's the case on the offensive line, which is always a big deal. If they're going to play a true freshman at left tackle, which Tim Paulsek did last week, and you're going to see a heck of a lot more of Ryan Babbitts in that spot, the young man from Buffalo, Minnesota, highly regarded recruit that came out. And we saw him early in fall camp getting reps with the first team at left guard.
You were
Saturday
all over that from the start.
Just say that was a guy that, keep an eye on it.
Yes.
And now Mikey came in and played left tackle in the game Saturday night, moving Bo Johnson to left guard. Paulsek said we're going to see more of that going forward.
Yeah, and I don't think NDSU's offensive line has been bad.
No.
I think it's been inconsistent at times, just from the little that I know of offensive line play. But it's almost like there's, I don't want to get conspiracy theory here because I hate it, but are there other things at play in terms of, you're trying to put the best 5 on the field, and so if he's one of the best 5, that's fine.
He's got to play, right?
But they have not, this would have never been thought of 5 years ago. So 3 years ago would have never been thought of to put a true freshman left tackle on the field for North Dakota State.
Are you saying because they're worried about him potentially leaving to play him?
That's why you're good at this, because you get right to the point, and I was afraid to say it for some reason. Do you just take advantage of kids when they're here? And I know nothing. I'm not questioning Tim Paulsek because I just don't know anything. I haven't talked to anybody about this. But what's the hurry? Because they're 8-0 and they just beat their arch rival by 200 points.
By a sizable amount.
So is it just the kid's here now, let's get him out there. Let's take advantage of the skills that he has while he's here. And if he stays for 4 years,
awesome.
Awesome.
Right.
If he doesn't, we got play out of him.
I think you're exactly on it. I don't think it's conspiratorial at all. I think this is the day and age we're living on where if this is the best guy who can play, what are we waiting for?
Right.
We got to play him. They may leave anyway.
And Paulsek has said that publicly, is that he said, I'm going to play true freshmen if they can play.
Yes.
I'm not going to. The old days are gone.
Yes.
There were, you can take it to the basketball level. This is a bad analogy, but Tim Miles sat the Fab Five in basketball, even though they were kicking the living daylights out of the guys he had on the court during practice. There was other things at play there, but he could do that because they couldn't leave, basically.
Now without a whole year.
And now you wonder if that was the same situation, even because they were, again, waiting for the eligibility for the NCAA tournament to come up. Would Tim Miles do that today?
No way.
No.
No way.
Nope.
I think there's a part of that, and it's different on the other side of the ball at defensive tackle because they're not as deep there. But there's a reason Elijah Wayne is playing as well.
Yes.
I think it goes down that same road.
Right, and I think you're right. They needed bodies there, and they especially needed them on Saturday against South Dakota State. But there was never a question that Elijah was going to play his 5+ games
Correct.
And lose eligibility.
Yep.
There was a question with Ryan Babbitt of what they were going to do with him, and now it's ripped the Band-Aid off and it's full go.
So keep an eye on that.
It's not every snap either.
No.
Because
Saturday.
Saturday it was 28 to 30 snaps out of 70-ish, I think.
Yep.
And so it sounds like it's going to be the same thing.
Same pitch count.
It's not going to be full all 70 snaps for Ryan Babbitt, at least from what I gathered yesterday at Tim's press conference.
Something to keep an eye on and watching big number 76 out there. You can't miss him. He's a giant at left tackle. One guy we thought the Bison may miss on Saturday, ended up they didn't, and Jackson Dutenheffer, who did not play in the game. His status still up in the air to coming back from the really tough neck injury he suffered, Mike, a couple weeks ago at Indiana State. But that's a guy, looks like he's trending towards getting back on the field. Yeah,
Tim mentioned it's a possibility he might play Saturday against Youngstown State, which is, again, number one, it's terrific that that's happening, regardless of whether you're a Bison fan or not. It's terrific that Jackson Dutenheffer appears to be able to get back on the field this season. That's great. And if he can play this Saturday, I mean, why would you not play him? It's go time, man. I mean, let's see what he can do and get him back out there.
Yeah, I mean, we look at what he can do and what he's done when he's been unbelievable. He's been maybe the NDSU's best run stopper next to Keenan Wilson at that spot.
Yeah, and he's good. He's been a wrecking ball really since late last season.
Yes.
If you look back to that South Dakota State game, the final sack in the semifinals was he and Heisman just absolutely beating SDSU's offensive linemen like a couple of rented mules and getting to Mark Gronowski in about 1.1 seconds. And he just continued that. He was unblockable in spring ball. He was unblockable in fall camp. He was almost been unblockable in the first 6 games of the season before he got hurt.
Bison injury is starting to mount up. Let's go to the linebacker room. Austin Altapeter is done for the season. We saw that was a serious injury on Saturday night, ended up being a torn ACL. This is his 3rd separate knee injury for the Moorhead kid. He tore his ACL his senior year with the Spuds in 21. Injured it again in 2022. He got on the field. He played 13 games last year, and now he's going to be done. And this is a spot the Bison don't have a ton of depth at linebacker right now.
No, and it's the other part of it is, and you'll get to this, I'm sure, with Will Stile, but Austin Altapeter plays a lot of special teams, and so does Will Stile play a lot of special teams. And Will Stile has stood out. I mean, if you talk about kids that you notice when they're on the field, Will Stile has done that. But for Austin Altapeter, it's not only the linebacker depth, it's also the special teams play. And so at some point here in every FCS season, it's a battle of attrition as you get toward the playoffs and then certainly into the playoffs. And Tim Paulsek said it yesterday that he tosses and turns at night now thinking about linebacker depth and about special teams because they're losing guys there. I mean, if there's an FCS team out there without injuries, please tell me.
I'd like to know who they are.
So South Dakota State, we saw on Saturday, lost, 3 guys or 2 guys?
And 3 dudes that
they
had.
I mean, they lost, 3 of their dudes are going to be sidelined here for, I think, some time.
Sizable amount of time.
And so it's not just NDSU, so this isn't like a violin being played here, but it matters going down the stretch.
Now, linebacker depth, Kolpak and I have talked about this, I think, for 10 years of are they going to get some guys there? But, I mean, late in the game, I'm watching Saturday, that Kopp was still out there, Staling was still out there, and the game was well in hand. You don't want to be in that spot at all to have when it's 38-7 and still have all your number ones still out there.
No, you don't. But I mean, maybe it's South Dakota State, so they're going to play their starters as long as they could. I don't know, but no, you don't want that out there. But that's where they are. And so on road games, especially, you're limited with who you can bring out there, or bring on the road rather. Home games, it won't be an issue. They only have one road conference game left, and so they'll be able to get some guys in if they have some blowouts the last 3 home games.
I mean, Peter Haugo's going to have to play more. I think Ray James might be done for the season as well with a shoulder injury. So now maybe true freshman Gavin Sell may have to play. I mean, this is not a scenario. It might be getting overlooked.
The transfer from Minnesota,
Alex Elliott is going to have to make a decision on his status
and
too.
So he was expected to get some time both on special teams and on the field, and so he's going to have to make a decision what he wants to do for his future, and there are some issues at linebacker.
Elliott's an interesting one because now, Mike, we're at this point where there's 4 games left in the season. If you were to play, then it wouldn't count against your eligibility for next season, at least for freshmen. That's how we're told it worked. Elliott's now he's a redshirt sophomore, so there'd have to be some clearance with the NCAA in terms of if he gets the medical.
I don't understand that because Raja Nelson was
correct, I was in the same boat on that.
Was not a freshman last year
and played 4 games and got the year.
Games, right, but he had not redshirted.
No,
and did Alex Elliott redshirt?
He did. He redshirted his first year in Minnesota.
So that would be the issue. So then it would be the medical hardship, and that's the hang-up with Alex. But I mean, you could also look at it this way: NDSU has 4 regular season games left, but they might have 8 total games left. Yes. Right?
Correct.
I mean, if things go the way you would expect them to go, or they're trending to go, there's not 4 games, there's 8 games. And so I think that has to play into the decision as well.
And that's how policy
for everybody
planning for it. Exactly right. All right, here comes Youngstown State. We haven't seen the Penguins in 3 years. They were off the schedule for the last 2. They've got an electric quarterback. Ball-playing fool, I believe is what Tim Polisic referred to Bo Bruncard, number 12 out there, who can run it as well as anybody, and he can heave it too. This is going to be an interesting challenge for the Bison D.
Yeah, I last night, because I have no life, I rewatched the Youngstown State South Dakota State game just to kind of see both teams, frankly. And first half, Youngstown State had their way. Second half was an entirely different story. But the first half, Bo Brungard was running and throwing like Steve Young out there. I mean, he's got wheels.
He's about as tall as Steve Young?
He's about not big. Yeah. You can see that right there. He is not a tall dude, but he has some wheels. Yeah. He has some speed.
You'll see it here. He caught a pass and scored a touchdown against Murray State on Saturday.
And so he'll be a challenge, a different challenge than a DJ Williams, for example, or even a Chase Mason if he was going to play on Saturday, which he did not for South Dakota State. But they'll get some yards, I think, and they have enough speed at receiver. They have a couple playmakers. One of the great nicknames in FCS football, that kid
That's him right there.
Flash Wilson. Fantastic. Just fantastic. Flash. Not Flash from the Dukes of Hazzard, by the way. The slow dog. This kid is Flash because he's fast, the Flash.
Yes.
But second half, South Dakota State took over both offensively and defensively, and Julius Loffridge ran unfettered in the second half. So that would seem to be the issue that'll face the Penguins on Saturday afternoon.
Doug Phillips is now in his 6th year. He made the playoffs in 23. They won 8 games, and then, of course, the portal came for Youngstown, and they won 4. They've won 5 already. I think they're right on the edge here. If they get another win, because they have 2 more winnable games after this, if they get to 7 or 8, I think they have a good chance to make the postseason.
Well, if they beat North Dakota State, let's say then they're going to win 8 games and be in. If they don't, if they can get to 7 and 5, they would have a chance.
They beat Illinois State, which I don't know what you take out of that. That was a big win on the road for them.
Doug Phillips, I think, has done a good job at Youngstown State. It's not an easy place. No. He's got a bunch of NFL guys on his
all over
and major college guys on his staff who have Youngstown connections. By the way, I talked to Doug at MVFC Media Day down in Sioux Falls, and he said, "You know what? I've had a bunch of assistant coaches leave to bigger jobs." He said, "I'm going the other direction. I'm taking guys who have been big places but have ties to Youngstown, so they want to settle down not for a retirement job necessarily, because that has a bad connotation, but just like, you know what, I don't want to keep losing guys every year and restack on not only my roster, but my coaching staff. So they have guys that know what they're doing. They have players that know what they're doing, but I just don't know if defensively if they can stack up to North Dakota State.
Let's take a break. We come back. We'll look at the games coming up this weekend across the valley. Big one in Vermilion. We'll chat about that. We wrap things up on the Bison Media Zone on this Wednesday morning. We're back right after this. Welcome back, everybody, here on the Bison Media Zone. Here are the games this weekend. Of course, the Bison at home with Youngstown State. You'll see the game on WDAY. Game in Vermilion, Michael. North Dakota has never won in Vermilion in the D1 era.
I keep saying this to you, my friend. Bury the past.
Got it? It's over?
Stop talking about they haven't won in
Just
Carbondale.
I know.
They haven't won in Cedar Falls.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They're going to win
This
on
is going
Saturday.
to be a
Okay.
boat race.
Okay.
A boat race. I have called a boat race against Northern Iowa.
You were right.
I've called a boat race
You were right
against
there.
Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois.
They are going to boat race South Dakota.
Illinois State has Northern Iowa. This is the week where we have two kind of good games and then three kind of bad ones. Southern Illinois goes to Murray this weekend, and then Indiana State plays against the Jackrabbits, which we anticipate that's going to be Luke Marble again at quarterback. Lofton Ogroski's not going to play.
Right.
Chase Van Tol, their top linebacker.
Right.
I'm not saying keep an eye on it, but just see what happens in that game in Brookings.
I think it'll be most interesting to see how South Dakota State's offense performs in that game.
Yes.
Because the longer this goes on, and it's only gone on now for 2 weeks, but the longer it goes on, I wonder the status of Chase Mason.
Yes.
And I know nothing, and it's not any of my business to talk about the medical issues with some 22-year-old guy in Brookings, South Dakota. But there are just some little signs there that this is not like a 3-week or 2-week thing.
If he's in a boot, I can't imagine it's not day to day. I know that.
If it's not an ankle, if it's a foot, and again, don't have a medical degree.
Yeah.
I'm not Marcus Welby here. And nobody knows who I just referenced, but that's okay. I do. If it's a foot, that's a whole different thing
deal.
than an ankle. Yep. And I only know that because we've seen it here in Fargo the last 5 or 10 years. You need 2 hands to count the kids who have had their seasons ended or had their careers ended.
Yep.
And I'm not saying it's going to happen with Chase. I hope it doesn't happen with Chase. But we've seen a couple of kids have their career end because of foot problems at North Dakota State.
Yep. Be interesting to watch. That tight group there in the middle. South Dakota's 3-2. I don't know if the Coyotes win another game in the league. They have UND, then the Jacks. They've got Southern Illinois at the back end. I mean, right now, that middle spot, you look at it here, I think between Illinois State, SIU, Youngstown State, I think the Valley, I feel confident on 5. So between Illinois State, SIU, Youngstown, somebody's going to get left out of the dance in my mind.
Yeah, I think.
Because you think the Jacks, UND, and NDSU are in.
I think they're all in. South Dakota.
I don't think they're going to make it.
I don't know. I don't think
they could lose out in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. But that'll decide who gets that last spot. Will be if they can beat Southern Illinois, or if they can beat UND, which I just said they're not going to. But if they can, then that changes everything for South Dakota. They can't score.
No,
I mean they just can't score.
No,
they scored 13. Youngstown State put up 50 on Illinois State. 50 on Illinois State.
Yep.
South Dakota put up 13.
13. Not great.
Not great.
Don't forget, we got the football game for you on Saturday. Bison Game Day gets us started at 10 a.m. on WDAY with myself, Jeff Kolpak, Kyle Emanuel, and Sam Getzinger. And then the game is at 2:30 from the Fargo Dome. We hit the air at 2:20 to get you ready for the Bison and the Penguins. Youngstown making its first trip to Fargo since 2022. We'll see what Bo Brungard can do against this Bison defense. Going to be highly entertaining to watch that play out on Saturday as we begin the stretch run in November. 4 games to go in the season. Thanks so much for coming by, bud. We'll see you on Saturday, all right?
Yep.
Mike McFeely joining us on this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone. We do it each and every Wednesday at 10:30. If you miss it, you can stream it again on WDAY Plus podcast as well at Inforum.com. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday on the BMZ and Saturday at the Dome.